In the days that followed, the tension grew. Javier invited me to dinner one evening. His voice on the phone was unusually warm, but it sent shivers down my spine. He insisted we go to an expensive Italian restaurant. He told me to wear my green dress. The request was strange, but I obeyed. At the restaurant, I watched them carefully. Their smiles were forced. They ordered expensive dishes, laughing too loudly, but their eyes flicked toward me, studying me. Then the questions came. "Mom, do you ever feel dizzy? Do you have trouble with the stairs?" Raquel leaned in, her smile sharp. "You really should think about updating your will. Javier can help with that." The irony was unbearable. My own son, the lawyer, eager to write the document that would make him the beneficiary of my death. Later, when they dropped me home, Javier walked inside with me. He looked around the house carefully, scanning the rugs, the stairs, the loose spots on the floor. He muttered, "These are dangerous. You could have an accident." His words carried weight. He wasn't warning me. He was planning. That night, fear gripped me. I knew I couldn't wait for them to strike. If I wanted to survive, I had to act first. By then, I knew one thing. If I stayed silent, they would succeed. My son, my brother, Raquel, they would kill me and call it an accident. No one would question them. I had no proof strong enough for the police. Just my word against theirs. I needed a plan. A desperate one. I turned to the only person I trusted completely, my neighbor and closest friend, Beatrice. She was 70, a retired nurse, and had been by my side for 20 years. I told her everything, every word I overheard in that car. Her eyes widened with horror. "My God, Lydia, they won't stop. You need to disappear before they make their move." That's when Beatrice suggested something wild. "What if you die before they can kill you?" The idea chilled me, but it made sense. If they believed I was gone, I could watch them reveal themselves. She explained how it could work. She still had medical supplies. There were drugs that could slow my pulse to almost nothing. She could stage it, call 911, and make it look like I had passed from a heart attack. A young EMT she knew, Ruben, could be trusted to play along. And a pathologist friend, Dr. Jones, could help sign off a death certificate. It was insane, risky, but I agreed. It was the only way. We chose a Sunday during one of our regular family lunches. I wore yellow that day, a color of peace. I ate lightly, forcing smiles, pretending nothing was wrong. My heart hammered as I swallowed the bitter medication Beatrice slipped me. Within minutes, I felt it. My limbs heavy, my breathing shallow. Darkness crept in at the edges of my vision. The last thing I heard was Beatrice crying out, "She's collapsed!" "She's not breathing." Sirens followed. Paramedics rushed in. They checked me, declared no pulse. At 3:45 that afternoon, Lydia Monroe was pronounced dead, but I wasn't. I woke hours later in Beatrice's basement. My body weak, my mind foggy, but alive. Cameras had been set up in my house. From that moment, I would watch them. I would see who they really were when they thought I was gone. The first thing I heard was Javier's voice on the phone. Calm, cold. Her time came. She wasn't in good health. It was expected. No grief. No hesitation. Just relief. What came next confirmed everything. From Beatrice's basement, I watched it all. The cameras I had hidden in my home became my eyes. 2 nights after my death, they arrived. Javier, Raquel, Alvin, and Patricia. They didn't come with flowers. They didn't come with tears. They came with bags. The moment they stepped inside, I saw the truth. Raquel's face twisted into a satisfied smile. "Finally," she muttered. Patricia laughed, a sharp sound that cut through me. Surprised she hung around this long. My son, my Javier, walked through the rooms I had built with my blood and sweat. He didn't pause to remember. He didn't look at the photos, the furniture, the small things I had saved for him. Instead, he opened drawers, pulled out my jewelry box, and handed it to Raquel. "Get it appraised," he said coldly. They sorted through my belongings like scavengers. Raquel tossed aside old photographs. Patricia sneered at my clothes. Alvin complained that the house wasn't worth as much as I had claimed. They argued over numbers. Not one of them shed a single tear. Then I heard the words that burned my heart. Sell it all quickly, Javier said, phone pressed to his ear. He was already calling a realtor. We don't need a funeral. Cremation will do. Keep it simple. No wake. No respect. My life reduced to ashes, paperwork, and money. In that moment, any doubt I had left died. My son hadn't been manipulated. He wasn't pressured. He was leading them. I sat there trembling, my fists clenched. Pain twisted into rage. They thought they had won, but they hadn't. Not yet. This was no longer about survival. It was about justice, and I would make sure the world saw what they really were. Once I saw their true faces, I knew hiding wasn't enough. They needed to be exposed, not just to me, but to the world. Beatrice put me in touch with her friend Maria Elena Vargas, a reporter from Channel 7. When Maria heard my story, she called it the story of the year. She promised to help me reveal everything publicly. With her, we built the plan for my return. The timing was perfect. My so-called family had arranged an inheritance meeting for Saturday. The house, the savings, the insurance, everything would be discussed and divided. They thought it was their payday. We set the trap. Cameras would be rolling. Police and a judge would be present, disguised as observers. My recordings, their voices plotting my death, their cold words in my home, would be ready to play. On that day, I dressed in red. Not for mourning, but for power. The same color I wore on my wedding day when I still believed in love, in family, in forever. From behind the curtain, I listened as they spoke. Patricia complained about who should get what. Alvin argued about numbers. Raquel smirked as she described the house she planned to buy. Javier, my son, sat there calmly, controlling the conversation like a lawyer negotiating a contract. None of them mentioned me with love. Only money. Then Maria gave the signal. I stepped into the room. The moment they saw me, chaos erupted. Patricia screamed. Raquel stumbled back, pale as death. Alvin muttered, "Impossible." Javier's face drained of color. "Mom, but you're—" I raised my voice, strong and steady. "Dead? That's what you wanted, isn't it?" The cameras turned. The reporters leaned in. I played the recordings aloud. Their own words filled the room. Their plot, their greed, their laughter over my death. There was no escape. The police moved in. The judge declared the charges: conspiracy, attempted murder. One by one, they were taken away. I looked at Javier, my only son. His eyes brimmed with fear, then shame. "Mom, I'm sorry," he whispered. But it was too late. I turned to the cameras. I gave my life for my family. I sacrificed everything. And this is what they planned for me. Let this be a lesson. Family is not just blood. Real family is love, loyalty, and truth. The world watched. My pain became their warning. The news spread everywhere. My story was on every channel, every newspaper, every screen. People couldn't believe it. A mother who sacrificed everything, betrayed by her own blood. Strangers cried for me. Strangers defended me. My pain became a lesson for others. The trial was long, but justice was served. Javier, Raquel, Alvin, and Patricia were all found guilty. Conspiracy, attempted murder, fraud. They were sentenced to years behind bars. One day, I received a letter from Javier. He wrote about regret, about shame. He said he never stopped loving me, that greed blinded him. I read every word, but I couldn't forgive. Love without loyalty is nothing. My story went viral. People donated money, sent letters, offered support. I decided to use it for good. I created a scholarship fund for struggling single mothers, women like me who work themselves to the bone for their children. That was the best way to turn my pain into something meaningful. I sold the house. Too many memories, too much pain. I moved to a small place where no shadows lingered. I kept Beatrice close. She was my true family, the one who stood beside me when blood betrayed me. At 65, I live in peace. I spend mornings in the garden, evenings with friends, and nights knowing I survived what was meant to kill me. I died once, but I came back stronger. I learned that family is not just who you are born to. Family is who stands by you when the world falls apart. And for the first time in years, I am content. My name is Lydia Monroe. I was 62 when I thought I had already known the worst pain life could offer. I lost my husband too soon. I raised my only son alone, stretching every penny until it nearly tore in half. I scrubbed floors and cleaned offices until my body ached. I thought I had seen heartbreak, but nothing prepared me for the day I hid in the back of my son's car. The sun was shining that afternoon. A perfect day, the kind that makes you forget your worries. I carried with me a chocolate cake, Javier's favorite. I had baked it the way he always loved as a boy, with thick, fudgy layers. I imagined his smile breaking through his stern lawyer face. That image filled me with joy. When I reached his office, I spotted his silver sedan. I laughed quietly to myself, slipped into the back seat, and hid there with the cake on my lap. My heart raced with excitement. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. My knees ached against the floorboard. Then I heard footsteps, firm, steady. The driver's door opened. Javier slid behind the wheel. His cologne drifted back to me, so familiar it almost calmed me. Then another door opened. A woman got in. Her voice froze my blood. "Are you sure no one will suspect anything when it happens?" It was Raquel, my daughter-in-law, the woman who always greeted me with a cold kiss on the cheek. Javier answered without hesitation. "Raquel, we've been through this. The plan is perfect. Mom will have an accident at home. A fall down the stairs. Nobody will question it. She's old enough." My heart stopped. My son, my only child, the boy I gave everything to, the boy I worked myself half to death for, and now he was planning to kill me. Raquel's laugh cut through me. "After the funeral, we'll sell that house. 200,000 plus her savings. Finally, we can live the way we deserve." They were talking about my house, the small home where I had poured every ounce of my effort, where I had rocked Javier through fevers, where birthdays were celebrated quietly, but with love. It was never much, but it was ours. And now, it was nothing but money to them. Javier mentioned my brother, Alvin, and his wife, Patricia. They were in on it too. Alvin, who had been struggling without work. Patricia, who always complained I was stingy. They had all conspired against me. For money, for the savings I scraped together, for the insurance I took out to protect Javier's future. They kept talking, discussing my accident, planning their fake grief. I stayed silent, trembling, choking back sobs. When they finally left, I remained hidden in the car for 10 long minutes, too paralyzed to move. When I finally drove home, tears blurred the road. I was a shell of myself. The people I loved most were plotting my death. But to understand why this betrayal cut so deep, you need to know where I came from, and the sacrifices that built the life they now wanted to steal. Javier came into this world 35 years ago. He was born into a home of secondhand clothes and empty cupboards. His father, Robert, worked construction. He dreamed of giving us more, but fate was cruel. A scaffold collapsed, and in a single moment, I was a widow at 27. All I had left was my little boy and a small, creaky house. I wasn't highly educated. High school was as far as I had gone, but I was determined. I scrubbed floors, washed clothes, cleaned strangers' houses. My hands cracked from bleach, my back bent from buckets of water. Every dawn began with work. Every night ended in exhaustion. But no matter how tired I was, I hugged Javier tight and whispered that one day he would be someone important, and he was. He was smart, always at the top of his class. His teachers said he had great potential. I did everything to support him. When he turned 15, he needed a computer. 3 months of wages would never cover it. So I sold my wedding ring, Robert's last gift to me. It broke my heart, but the smile on Javier's face was worth every sacrifice. College was the dream. Law school was the mountain. Tuition cost $20,000 a year, far beyond what I had. I begged Alvin, my brother, for help. He refused, calling it a pipe dream. He told me Javier should get a job instead of wasting time. His words cut deep, but I swallowed the pain. I worked harder. Night shifts at a veterinary clinic, weekends selling tamales. Some days I worked 14 hours straight. I barely ate, but Javier had books, clothes, everything he needed. When he got accepted into law school, I cried tears of pride. Every sacrifice had been worth it. It was during college that Javier met Raquel. She was beautiful, from a wealthy family, always dressed in expensive clothes. From the start, she looked down on me, my home, my simple life. She saw my cracked dishes, faded curtains, and judged them. But Javier loved her, so I stayed quiet and smiled. When he graduated and landed a job at a big firm, I thought my burden was finally over. His first paycheck was more than I ever made in a month. I could finally breathe. At their wedding, Raquel demanded an expensive ceremony. I emptied my savings to help. People whispered about me, calling me the humble mother. I ignored it. All I could do was smile at my son, but after the wedding, the visits grew fewer. There were always excuses: parties, vacations, her family gatherings. And when they did come, all they talked about were expensive things. Cars, luxury apartments, big houses. I retired at 60. My body couldn't take the labor anymore. I had managed to save $50,000 just in case of emergencies. Javier knew about it. Alvin and Patricia knew too. And that's when things began to change. Alvin and Patricia started to complain about me. They called me selfish, accused me of hoarding money. They said I gave everything to Javier and nothing to them. But they never saw the truth. Every dollar I saved was carved out of pain and sacrifice, and Javier himself began to change. He dressed in expensive suits, carried himself with arrogance, spoke to me as if I were beneath him. It was subtle at first, but I felt it. He was ashamed of the life we had come from. 6 months ago, I overheard them talking about a $500,000 home in the suburbs. Their questions about my finances became sharper. How much was my house worth? How much did I have in savings? Did I have life insurance? I thought they were concerned about me. I was wrong. Now, after what I heard in that car, everything made sense. That night, I couldn't sleep. Their voices echoed in my head. My own son, my brother, my daughter-in-law, planning my death like it was nothing. I stared at the ceiling until dawn, asking myself where I went wrong, but grief turned into resolve. If they were planning against me, I had to be ready. I began watching them, quietly, without a word. I sat outside their apartment some evenings, noting their routines. I saw the truth of their lives. Javier earned $6,000 a month, but it vanished quickly. They spent on $200 dinners, designer clothes, and a luxury apartment that cost $3,000 in rent. They lived beyond their means. Debt piled up. Credit cards, loans, more than $50,000 owed. And to them, I was the way out. My house, my savings, my insurance, $350,000. The final proof came from Alvin. One day, while cleaning an office where Patricia worked, I overheard her on the phone. "It's time Lydia finally does something for us. She's been selfish long enough." My heart clenched. My own brother's wife speaking of me like I was an obstacle, not family. That evening, I confronted Alvin directly. I knocked on his door and the look on his face betrayed him. Shock, guilt, then anger. Patricia stood behind him, arms folded, her eyes hard. "I know you lost your job," I said. "Why didn't you just come to me? I could have helped." They exchanged quick glances. Alvin's face tightened. "We didn't want to be a burden." His tone was defensive. Patricia cut in sharply. "You've always given everything to Javier, never to us. You hoard money while we struggle. Do you even know what fairness is?" Her words stung. All my life I had worked, suffered, sacrificed, not for myself, but for family. And now I was being accused of greed. Alvin added bitterly, "You bought a house while we rented. You had security while we scraped by." I wanted to scream that every brick of that house came from my sweat, my aching bones, my sleepless nights. But what good would it do? Their resentment had already twisted into hatred. As I left their home, one truth became clear. They didn't see me as a sister or a mother. To them, I was money. Just money.